Hello and Allahu Akbar to all the Baha'is of the world, to people of the planet. Time is 10:38, today is 15th of May, and I have a headache. But I'm going to continue one more session describing what my Father, what my Lord has explained in his Mathnavi for us. In this session, he continues on the first and second line, the third line, about the Moses and revelation of Moses. We discussed before what Sinai is and what that staff of Moses is. There was something else with Moses too, that he had his hand, some kind of a white light comes that it was just one of his miracles that he would do, amazes the people of his time. Whether that was true or not, it is something that will be found, more of that in the future. There was, in my opinion, none of those. It's the way how the things are written, especially in the Middle East. Things are written differently. The events have a way of expression. So, to clarify these matters, Baha'u'llah again goes on and says, it's about the Moses. Sinash sinawo naurash nure dust. Sine is the chest. Sine ash means his. His chest is the Sinai, he says. Sinai means the Sinai. So that Mount Sinai is an expression. For sure Moses did go on the top of that mountain, I know for a fact. But the truth of the matter, where he got on that mountain, the message, it was within his chest, okay? Sinash Sinah. So the Sinai would be the chest of Moses. O means and, which I did not write down here, O. So I can write it down now. Sinash Sinavo Naurash Nuradus. Nar means fire. Naurash means his fire. Is a reference to the burning bush, the fire he saw. He says, and that fire is really Nuradus. That fire is actually the light of Dus, God, friend. Dus here means divine friend, which is God. So he's telling us that the Sinai, what is in his chest really, and the Nar that you saw is nothing but the light of the friend, God. So if you notice the word Sine, come chest, in English we use that. We say my heart, we don't mean physical heart, we mean our spiritual heart, metaphysical. We do also use the Sine, chest. They say, oh, something in my chest, I have to release it. In Persian, they use even liver and kidney to explain the things, you know. Your children, you know, they are your liver, as a matter of expression. So, if Sine, chest, is difficult for you, remember that in English it is there, but it's a Persian thing. But this line is very important to explain. He says, Kaffe'u beyza wa qalbash ture oost. So far we saw the Sinai was his chest, the fire was the light of God. Kaffe'u beyza. Beyza means white, snow white. That's what Shoghi Effendi is translated. Beyza is the snow white. Kaf really means the palm of the hand. This is kaf. Okay? As in soul, they say palm. Persian, they say kaf. Actually, they use kaf for both foot and hand. It's kafe hand. Kafe dast means the palm of the hand, or kafe paw, the paw, whatever, the sole of the foot. So kafe ubeza, that light, he says, that comes, you know, he's referring to that light on the hand of the Moses that would come, a bright light would shine. That was one of his miracles, alongside of that snake that he had, that staff. And he goes, qalbash tureust. Okay? Sinai, in Persian, we use also the word tur. But really, Tur and Sina have been translated by Shoghi Effendi both as Sinai. There he says the chest, here he says qalbash, his heart is his Sinai. So the Sinai used the word Tur, means the heart, or the chest of Moses, and the light was the light of Pharaoh. But Kafe'u Beza is the questions. In Quran, clearly it is referred to that Beza, but in Persian literature, everyone, Yad-e Beza we have. Yad in Arabic means hand. Yad-e Beza means a hand of white, you know, that white light. But in the Baha'i faith, I have seen instead of Yad, which is the hand, the Kaf has been used. And Shoghi Effendi has translated Kaf as the hand. Kaf-e Beyza-i Ilahi, he says that the divine snow white hand of God, you know. So Kaf has been used as hand. Beyza means white. But when you look at this writing, you would say to yourself, why Baha'u'llah use Kaf? He could say Dast-u Beyza. Dast would be definitely hand. Kaf is part of the hand, you know, just a palm. Or he could have used Yad-u Beyza. But he does not use the word Yad and hand, and he used the word Kaf. Why? Because, my friend, this is why the writing has to be understood before it gets translated. If somebody uses the word Kafe'u Beyza, definitely by the standard of Shoghi Effendi, he could go and use what? The snow white hand. Okay? But a snow white hand, there is no translation of it in the spiritual realm. We already saw the translation of Sinai was chest. The translation of fire was light. The translation of Sinai was heart. But what is the translation of that Beyza, the white hand of Moses? Because simply there's no translation. He simply says his hand was bright. No, it has to have a meaning. Because the whole thing is about transferring and translating it in its ultimate meaning, ultimate purpose, ultimate layers. By just simply thinking Kaf means hand, we are not getting any news. It becomes an information. Kafe'u Beyza, so we know his hand was Beyza, white. Baha'u'llah is trying to tell us something here. And therefore, this Kaf, which is a Persian word, here is not a Persian word. It's an Arabic word. Arab, they use also Kaf. Yes, with a different meaning. In English and Persian, there are a lot of words that we use different. You say pool. What's pool? Pool means a pool of water. In Persian, pool means money. Actual money means pool. So, Kaf in Persian has two meanings, several meanings. One of them is the surf, you know, of the sea when it comes to the shore. That's the Kaf of the sea. Or Kaf sabun, which means the surf of the soap, right in the bath. You can see it's puffing up. So that is again Kaf. But Kaf is also the palm of the hand. You can see the floor of the room also is the Kaf. So this Kaf is not Persian, it's Arabic Kaf. And now it has its meaning will come out. We have a word we use in Persian lots of times. We say Kaf nafs. we put a stress on F, we pronounce it twice. We don't say kaf, we say kaf-e-nafs. Kaf-e-nafs means a control of desire. Kaf here means control, the power that you stop something. Put on a stop on nafs. Nafs means desire, nafs means ego. If you put a stop on the ego or control it, then use the word kaf-e-nafs. You see? Here, Baha'u'llah says, Kaf-e-u-bayza, his control was that white light. You see? He's not referring to the palm of his hand. That's what it is in Quran. That's superficial. That's what it was. So Baha'u'llah will not repeat that unless he wants to say what are the meaning of it is. Therefore, Kaf-e-u-bayza means his control, the stoppage he had over the material desire, over anything materialistic. Moses had a control over it. He would not. That was the bayza. You see? This requires to understand it. Then you can translate it. If you don't understand it, you cannot translate it. In the Tablet of Wisdom, translated by late Adib Taharzadeh, God bless him, in his translation, you read it where it says that the nature of God is the will of God. How can the nature of God be the will of God and his expression? Of course, will of God is not the nature of God. Will of God creates the nature of God. If the will of God is the nature, then you're a communist. You're a materialist. You transfer God right into the matter. No. The nature of God is caused by the will of God. See? But he has said, because he didn't understand what the actual writing meant. It needs an understanding. Therefore, that translation is wrong. In this case, by this, I'm not trying to achieve and bring myself as an authoritative person in this regard. Please do not take it that way. I simply found a mistake in his translation, and there shall be probably many mistakes in what I'm saying today for the future generation to correct it, okay? I'm not claiming any infallibility of any sort. I'm just a specialist. So, Kaf-e-u-bayza means the control, the stoppage that he had. That was the light that was shining. It makes sense. People were looking at the control of Moses over sex, over material desires, over, a lot of things actually. And that was amazing for the people. Would, make even the people of Pharaoh to be afraid of him. That this man has a huge control over everything. You cannot buy him into anything. That was the Kaf-e-bayza. Good. We got rid of that one. We're going to go to the In'an-bayza. In, na, in, this, na, that, on. So this, not that bayza, not that white hand, this is. که that زعم را آمد پدید. Oh, see this? By the contrast, he's going to tell you there are two different ways of thinking of bayza, that white hand of Moses. This, not that white, that from the cause came, appeared. Or, this was transliteration. He says, this is not that white hand, that the command and the cause of God created it. No, he says, این همان بیضا که امر آرد پدید او. This, همان that, this is that بیضا, white hand, that, amr, cause, arad, brings, appear. Meaning, on the first one, this is not that Beza that came from the command and cause of God. This is the Beza that brings the cause of God. Not that the cause of God brings it up or created it. It will create the very cause of God. So, the creation of the revelation of the Judaism and cause of Moses was done through his Beza, that white hand, the decision making, highly under control, completely non-materialistic, is referring to the will of Moses, really. That the cause, he brought up the cause. He created the cause. That Beza was the will of Moses. On that history of the concept, Beza is something that the cause creates it. You see? You could say Baha'i faith is created by Baha'u'llah. Baha'u'llah is created Baha'i faith, but Baha'i faith has created me. I'm the student of the Baha'i faith. So if I am Beza, then what is Baha'u'llah? We might both be Beza, but mine is caused by his cause, whereas his cause is caused by his own willpower. This is the difference of these two Beza that he's trying. In zaman faraun ishq آمد پدید. Baha'u'llah likes this word faran. Several times he's using it. Not very familiar to the even English people, and not also familiar in the Sufism. This Mount of Faran and desert of Faran, the big huge area called Faran. Baha'u'llah kept referring to that. In Zaman, this time, the parent, Faran means the parent of love appeared. This time today, the Faran of love appeared. That parent was the parent where Moses came into it, where on that area, on that zone, Jesus came into it, and Muhammad came into it. Clearly in the Bible refers to three of them. But Baha'u'llah talked this time, this parent, from their commandment came. Moses brought commandment. Jesus, in a way brought love and kindness and managing it, and for the first time making Judaism to get out of Judea and become, universalized it. Muhammad brought the love, brought the knowledge and understanding, so he could say the message. Baha'u'llah says, today the parent of love have come. Okay, referring to his manifestation, which is love. How did it came out? He says, یار ما چون پرده از رخ بردارید. یار ما, our beloved, یار beloved of ما, us, our beloved, when پرده veil as from رخ, countenance, بردارید, set aside. When he took off his veil off, the parent of love appeared. Moses, Jesus, Muhammad, and the Bab. They all had this message. They were all same manifestation of same God. Therefore, their capacity is always the same. But the capacity of the people were not the same, the people that they were teaching. So, some people are telling me that, so you say Baha'u'llah said that clearly, I am God. And Muhammad says his main mission, his claim is that I am the servant of God. Baha'u'llah says, I am God. Not that Muhammad could have not said that, or was not capable of saying that? He of course is. And several times he has said that. He says, whoever has seen me has seen God. His hand is the hands of God, he says. So that means he has said the same thing as Baha'u'llah. But not in the main theme. Something on the periphery. Something on the side. Not emphasized. Not emphatic at all. Muslims, they know him as a servant of God. But this is not the claim of Baha'u'llah. Baha'u'llah says, I am God. All this means is that Baha'u'llah is the Muhammad that says, guys, you're grown up now. I am no longer a prophet of God. I am the manifestation of God. Bob says, he could say that there is no God but him. He could say there is no God but I. He could say that there is no God but you. Or he could say that there is no God but who. So, there is no God but God, there is no God but I. It's all the same. Bob says when he talks about Baha'u'llah. As you hear, La ilaha illallah, Muslims say there is no God but God. Baha'u'llah said there is no God but me. This is when the veil is coming out of the countenance and God is telling who he is. There is a strategy behind this. If Muhammad would say, I am God, people absolutely would just kill him. Never mind that, they would tell him to do millions of other things. And they wouldn't ask him. So, okay, good, you're God, you're among us, we have millions of questions. But Muhammad said people do not have that power. He says that I am the servant of God. God is the one beyond me and I worship him. That way people saw humbleness in Muhammad towards something superior than himself. I see. But if he would say, I am God, people would see this as a sign of arrogance, not sign of telling the truth. Because they don't understand it. They will immediately interpret it as arrogance. Jesus alludes to it many times. Father is in me, I am in Father. But then he calls himself a son of the Father, not the Father, because the Father will come. But Baha'u'llah says, I am the Father, I am the Jehovah, I am the Allah that Muslims do. Allahu Akbar, this is me. Baha'u'llah says that very clearly. So, because of that, since the face is out, now you can fall in love. How could you fall in love with a beloved that you don't know her face? So, when he comes and clearly says, okay, this is the reality, I am God, then the body of the man, manifesting through this individual, you know him as Baha'u'llah, but it is me talking to you, your creator. Baha'u'llah said that in his claim, and it is prophesied in all the religions of the past. But at the same time, this is not superiority of Baha'u'llah over the major manifestation of God in the past. No. It is a reference to his revelation, to his curriculum. A teacher, imagine at a university, can teach the students who want to become a doctor, a student who want to become a bachelor, a student who want to become a graduate. He could also go teach elementary school grade 1. He could teach all of them. But what he teaches is not the limit of his knowledge. Jesus said that I can teach you a lot of things, but I'll do it later. Even what we know as a Baha'i faith right now, which is the ultimate compared to what has been in the past, of course is not the limit of the knowledge of Baha'u'llah. How could it be? How is that possible? How big is this universe? It's infinite, that means you'll not know it. Baha'u'llah rules an entire universe. There are billions of Baha'u'llahs, trillions of Baha'u'llahs everywhere. One Baha'u'llah in many televisions, put it this way. But he says, because he has taken the veil out of his countenance, he's no longer say, I am the servant of God, but he says, I am the actual God. Well, imagine there's a king, and the stories in the past, that there's a certain province, a certain place, in his country and the land, they're doing a lot of rioting. And whomever he wants to send to go to find out what it is, he just cannot find. Either they're honest but they're not capable, or they're capable but they're not honest. He decides to go himself. But it doesn't say, I am the king here. He simply says, I'm a soldier and the king in the kingdom. He goes and introduces himself as a soldier because he wants to know what's happening. That would be the revelation of Moses and Jesus and Muhammad. Thou, Baha'u'llah, it is me, he says. This is it, the final. There's nothing more to tell you about his station. But his revelation is beyond what you see, much more. We're in the just beginning of this university. After this revelation, there's no more messages, you know. There's other things. So, now he says something, again, very interesting. Baha'u'llah says, I don't know. He says, بوی جان می آید این دم بر مشام. بوی, the smell of, the fragrance of, the scent of. Jan, spirit, می آید, is coming. In this dam, this moment. Bar, to my nose. To the nose, he says. Excuse me. He says the scent of the Spirit is coming in this moment to the nose. Mi nadanam, I do not know. Kaz, ke as. From where? Koja means where. I do not know where from it is coming continuously. So, a scent of the soul, this fragrance of the soul is coming in this moment to the nose. I do not know from where it is coming continuously. اینقدر دانم, in this qadar, you have to say qadr, but in the poetry you say inqadar. Inqadar, this much I know, danam. This much I know, that from the hairs of the beloved. Mivazat, wafting over, booey, a smell. Kedat, John, the heart, Gardat, becoming Nisar, sacrifice. He says, scent of the Spirit coming in this time to the nose, I do not know from where it is coming continuously. This much I know, that from the hairs of the beloved, wafting over a smell or fragrance, that the life is getting sacrificed for. Baha'u'llah in Turkey, when he has revealed this, he was well into his declarations from Iraq, but he is referring to the beginning of this revelation. It's just beginning, it's just starting. The other things that will have to come. He's referring to Abdu'l-Baha, he's referring to Shawi Effendi, he's referring to the elders, he's referring to a much bigger event that is coming. He says a need is arising, a need, a necessity, something so wonderful, but it is so beautiful that people would want to sacrifice their life for. Oh, it's gonna be coming here in the West. Big one. Wait till the rise of the Anglo-Saxons, people. You will see them. This is their time now. This is their stage. Baha'u'llah says, Minadanam, I do not know from where it is coming continuously. But this much I know. But from the hair of the beloved, wafting over in a smell, a fragrance that their very life wants to be sacrificed for. He's telling what's happening in his revelation as it's coming. By the way, the word minadanam is not in the sense that really I don't know. By the absolute term that Baha'u'llah really didn't know what's happening, that's totally blasphemy. But it's an expression, okay? There are many times that I ask questions from the Bab. He says, I don't know. He says, Bab says, I don't know the grammar. He says, neither do I know the grammar of the other languages or the words of other languages. Baha'u'llah says many times, they were talking about the book. I haven't read the book, he says. And, but he goes on without seeing the book. He will tell you about that. He will talk about the subject anyways. There are things that man makes. God doesn't know those things, because I told you before. God has given willpower to us, therefore he doesn't know what we're going to do. He does not know the knowledge of the refrigerators or the knowledge of a car. It's what we make. But what he made himself, which is the entire nature, Baha'u'llah knows all about that. What he makes, natural, he knows it. Everything. You ask him the question, he answers. But if you ask him that, speak French, he'll say, I don't know. I'm not supposed to know. You know. It does require an education to come to this small God, minor God, mankind, who has made French language, to learn from him. Baha'u'llah says, no, that is not my realm. My realm is that I'm the creator of the nature. I'm the manifestation of the power that's created the nature. Anything that's in the nature, we know. Things you do, I don't know. And quite honestly, not interested to know. Okay. I'll finish this session, and hopefully we'll continue for the rest. I'm sorry that I coughed. I'm just a bit ill. Thank you.